Yeah. What's going on YouTube? It's Chris from Out West with Chris, and today I'm going to be talking to you about this bad boy right here. It's kind of long. This bad boy right here. This is the Lews TP1 Black Speed Stick spinning rod. I've had this guy for about a year now, so I figure, hey, it's time to do a review. I've used this extensively. I've caught several fish on it, and a ton of different species actually too. And I think it's got some pretty cool features, and it's a really nice rod. Not gonna break the bank. It's not cheap by any means, but it's not gonna break the bank. This particular model, like I mentioned before, is a spinning rod. This is the TP1B69MLFS. So what that means is it's 6'9". It's a medium light power, and it's a fast action. This is my go-to finesse rod, especially when I need a sensitive rod, and it does a great job. It's super lightweight. It's a pretty well balanced rod as well. So this rod has quite a few features, and I'm gonna just go through the features really quick and let you guys know what they are, and then talk to you about my experience with this rod. And I'll just say right now, it's been a positive one. So let's chat about it. First thing you're gonna see right here, and this is pretty common with Lews rods, is it's got the wing grips on it, and it's got a really nice tacky grip. Great for wet weather, actually. Use this a lot in the rain. But it's also just good in summertime too. Your hands get a little sweaty. It's really grippy. I like these wing grips. This particular style of wing grip is the Wind Dry Tack Advanced Polymer Palm Swell grips. You see right here, it has the hook keeper down here. I like that. I like when the hook keeper's down there. I use this rod a lot for drop shotting, so I just hook the drop shot weight down under there, and stays nice and orderly. On the spinning rod, I really like having the hook keeper down here towards the bottom. So the reel seat is right here. This is it. This is the blank right here, so you can see all the way to the blank, and that would make this a skeletal reel seat. It's a really soft textured plastic on it, and if you're holding your hand right here for a lot of the day, that's kind of nice. And this reel seat is an exclusive to Lews. It's called the Lews Soft Touch Skeletal Reel Seat, and it is kind of soft, that plastic. I don't know what they do to make it like that, but it works. I don't have a lot of issues with it tightening down or anything, or coming loose. It seems like it performs like it should. So let's talk about the blank itself. The blank utilizes some carbon nanotube technology. That's a lot of fancy stuff for basically saying it makes it strong and light at the same time. So the blank is HM50 tour grade high modulus blank. HM50 tour grade, I don't really know what that means. All I know, I mean, I'm not totally a technical geek on rods. All I know is this thing has a ton of backbone, and it's super light. And I think that has a lot to do with the blank, utilizing the carbon nanotube technology. One thing I do like is the American Tackle micro guides. I don't know if you can see that right there. Let's see if we can get this super close. That is one of your guides right there. And so you'll see it's a small guide. And it's been explained to me before that this American Tackle, the micro guide or micro spin guide, whatever it's called, actually helps with fighting fish and casting at the same time. I will say that these micro guides are great to some point. If you use a big knot like leader to braid or something like that, you will feel it and it will impact your casting. So these micro guides are good, don't get me wrong, and I actually really like this American Tackle guide setup that's on this rod. But you just got to know, if you have a big knot, maybe you need to put some super glue on it to ease some of those edges, because you will have problems from time to time with a knot catching a guide, or just your cast being a little bit funky from time to time. I use a uni to uni and I need to find something a little bit smaller. So these rods incorporate something called the VTR system, and that's a vibration transfer ring. I believe that is here on the rod, and I don't really know exactly what it does, but from what I've read and kind of what I've experienced is it makes it a really sensitive rod because it transfers the vibration from the rod itself up into the reel seat essentially, and into the area where your hand's gonna be, and it helps you feel subtle bites pretty well. And that is one thing that I really like about this rod, the sensitivity on it. And even though it's sensitive, it still maintains quite a bit of backbone for fighting big fish. That fish right behind me, I landed that on this rod. Some of my best trout this past year, and the best trout of my life, to be totally honest, have been landed on this rod. And when you're fighting a big trout, it's really important to have something that that has some give to it, because when those trout do a nice big head shake, you want a rod that can absorb that head shake and keep that hook, you know, firmly pinned in their mouth. But you don't want something so strong with too much backbone that it's just gonna rip those lures right out of the trout's mouth. The trout's mouth is pretty soft, right? It's not as bony and doesn't have as much skeletal structure as a bass does. Now I use this for bass fishing too. This is my primary drop shot rod, but it's also caught me everything from you know, rainbow trout, brook trout. I've caught crappie on this, bluegill. I've caught other sunfish species. I've caught smallmouth bass, largemouth bass. I've caught a lot of different stuff on this rod. And this rod has just done such a great job in being sensitive enough to detect small bites when, you know, when really finicky fish are biting really slowly, like on Ned rigs, on drop shots, that type of stuff. Super sensitive, but also powerful enough to fight those fish effectively, get them into the boat, get them out of cover, and land those fish even. All right, guys, my new personal best rainbow. Get it back in the water. Oh, he was ready to go. Good fish. Look at that. 27 inches. You know, Lews is primarily known as a bass fishing tackle company. You know, you wouldn't really think to go grab your Lews rod and go trout fishing, right? But I have found that this is a very versatile rod and it suits the situation well. I've thrown flies on this rod using a spin cast bobber setup. If you're interested in that type of video, how to do that, throwing flies for trout, or even panfish or other, you know, species, using a spinning rod. I have a video that I did on it, a little tutorial. I'll have a link in the description, and there's a card right there or somewhere where you can follow and check out that video. Anyways, this was the rod I was using. So it works great. I'm throwing really light baits. Works great throwing, you know, half-ounce drop shot. You know, works great on all sorts of stuff. So my recommendation is that at $130, that's what this will run you, I think on Lews' website and in other retailers. For 130 bucks, really versatile rod. I highly recommend it. So guys, I am interested in hearing your feedback. What do you think? Have you ever used a Lews rod? Have you used the TP1 Black? The TP1 Black series has like 8 casting rods and I believe like 6 spinning rods that you can choose from. A few of them are new for 2020. They have a couple new models coming out in the TP1 Black series. I will actually post a link to that webpage where you can do more research on the different Lews rods. If you have any questions or comments, let me know in the comments section down below. Thank you guys for watching, and thanks for getting out west with Chris.